Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where we bring you inspiring softball stories, insightful tips from coaches and players, and explore how the game transcends its boundaries to become a metaphor for life. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, a casual fan, or someone just looking for inspiration, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the tales that go beyond the scoreboard. Discover how perseverance and hard work on the field translates into resilience in your daily challenges. Learn about teamwork, leadership, and the unwavering spirit that fuels success, not just in sports, but in the game of life. We are back. It's guest time. We have Bella Reese on tonight. Before I start talking about nothing for a couple minutes, Bella, you're just going to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. You can tell the audience how you know Allie and I, if you're not embarrassed to do so.
Right.
And then we'll start asking questions and we'll go from there. Welcome.
All right. So I'm Bella. I am 22 years old. I grew up in Elmira playing softball and later went to play travel for Rebels for a couple years. And then I went to the Tremors, and that's how I met Allie and Paul.
Let's go.
And their sister Jenna.
Yeah.
Shout out Jenna.
Yeah.
And I had a couple roadblocks, but then I went to play softball at St. Bonaventure for about 2 years. And my sophomore year, I had to head home for some different health reasons. But then after taking a year off and getting everything in check, I did some online school for about a year. And now I'm back getting a degree in social work.
And coaching.
And coaching with Paul.
Yes, Bella is my assistant for Horseheads Varsity. She is the pitching coach, and she calls all the pitches because, I mean, newsflash, she pitched and I didn't. So, we can get into that later. Bella, you make the last 3-4 years just sound so nonchalant. Like, let's dive into that a little bit. Like, let's start differently. When did you start playing softball? Let's build it up from there.
I started playing softball from when I could walk. Like any sport I was in except for soccer or anything really like that.
Yeah.
I was pitching. I started developing when I was about like 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I played with a lot of girls that went to Horses at that time too, and travel ball on the Rebels. But 8 is when I really started like getting into the groove and working with my dad every day outside and throwing whatever we could do. We didn't have really like a pitching coach or anything. It was just me and my dad trying to figure it out.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why you kind of loved it from a young age? Because it was just something fun that you did and not something that was like so structured right away?
I do think that's one of the main reasons. I mean, yes, it was like kind of like get it together at times. Yeah. More like, oh, you want to go throw? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And still we have that kind of relationship to this day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You still throw with your dad?
No, I would like to, but but no, we're very like lighthearted, loving relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how, fast forward to kind of when you said you started playing travel, how did that kind of go? When you switched teams and joined our team, which I'm very grateful for because that's kind of how we crossed paths, but just tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm trying to line up the timeline in my head.
It's crazy. It's so long ago and it's insane.
You too. It's not so long ago compared to this guy.
Yeah.
So for Lady Rebels, I played 10 and under, 12 and under, and 16. But like 16 I played when I was 14. So I want to say like the year after I came to Tremors.
Yeah, I think because I think for anyone who's listening and doesn't know, in New York State, it's kind of like 14U teams and 16U are kind of mixed together. Like 16U really isn't like a huge division, more so like in Illinois where I am now, which was news to me. So it's more like 14U and then 18U in New York, I would say.
Yeah, it's meshed.
Yeah.
Yes, because I played 3 years with Tremors, so that would add up. And what year would that be? 2017, 2016, 2017.
That math just looked painful for you.
I had an exam today too.
Oh yeah. That's
But
awesome.
that would make sense. And I was diagnosed in like 2015 with epilepsy.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Kind of the time frame of that, how it kind of transformed your softball career?
Yeah, so with that, I was diagnosed in 2015 um with epilepsy, and it's something that I wasn't aware of growing up. Like I would ask my mom like, "Hey, what's deja vu mean?" as I was going through like pubescent years. And
Mhm.
I'd say, "What's deja vu?" Because I would get these like spells, I would call them.
Mhm.
And she'd be like, "I don't know, just kind of this thing feeling like you've been there before." Or along those lines. And I'd say, hmm.
Interesting. Yeah.
And no, like I understand that, I feel that, but that's not really what's going on.
Mhm.
And that was probably all of like 2014. I was feeling like that. And I didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it was. And then in 2015 is when I had my first grand mal seizure. And for people that don't know what that is the shaking kind, the kind you would see in the movies or the TV shows. Um, so or tonic-clonic grand mal. But I have nocturnal epilepsy is what they call it. So I had a sleepover one night. I'll tell the story.
Okay.
But I played volleyball and softball in high school. And I had a sleepover one night, and as I was waking up in the morning, my friend was woken up by me having my first seizure that was witnessed, I guess, or accounted for, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
So she woke up, obviously was like, what the heck's going on? Got my parents, and then that's when I went to like the hospital and I worked with Rochester for a while, Strong Memorial. And then they kind of had to do the tests from there.
Yeah.
And
What was, I mean, I'm sure going through all that was scary, right? But looking back now, like that's just it's got to seem wild, like the journey you've been through and everything that you've kind of gone through. So looking back, like what kind of perspective do you have on all of that?
it's crazy because I feel like those things in life where kind of punch you in the face or hit you in the gut and kick you down, it's more of kind of grateful that you can look at a different perspective and to see other people. I have a lot of more like, what if they're going through this? What if this
Hmm.
just happened in life? Because you could never know. You could wake up normal one day and the next day have epilepsy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It, you know, from our side for a minute, I mean, this is going on while you're in high school, basically, or eighth, ninth grade. Would that have been the time
Yeah.
frame?
Yeah.
About eighth
So,
grade.
I mean, you were pitching on varsity, and we knew you that way before travel. No one knew. Like here you are pitching, and then you're telling us what you're going through on that end. I, I don't know how strong you
No,
have to be to even do all that. Like
and I was just
now
gonna
that I know the whole story.
Yeah.
I was just gonna add to playing with you, like you were someone who went through so much, like went through that with so much grace, and like you could have easily complained about that every day, and like you chose not to do that. So like I think that like makes you so strong just for choosing to do that every day because there's so many people, right? Like I could find negative things to complain about every day in my life if I wanted, and like someone like you in that situation, you rarely ever talked about it. Like I remember you'd get kind of those spells, and we'd be like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, no big deal," and you totally just moved on and didn't, we just went through it. You're like, yeah, I'm good. And like, I don't know. I just give you so much credit for that. And I still think about it, like how awesome you are for that. So I kind of just want to hear from you too, like what that thought process was like. I know you mentioned gratitude, but I'm sure it was a lot harder than you made it look in those times.
So it was very difficult. Like I don't I don't think anyone really has the knowledge on the medication
Mm.
aspect of that. So currently I'm on um 3 different medications and I have a RNS implanted in my head, which is called a responsive neurostimulator, which I got recently. But the medication process is very taxing, very nerve-wracking. A lot of anxieties around that because there is one medication that for where my epilepsy is, I'll talk about that. So it's on my frontal lobe strip and my temporal lobe, so right about here in my brain. And so that obviously controls left side controls the right side. So that would be my pitching arm. And,
Perfect.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
everybody. And then it's also on like language and motor. So when I do have these silent spells, these silent seizures, absent seizures, it's I hear everything in my head that I could say to you, but I can't get the words out of my mouth. And if I try, it's not gonna make any sense.
Yeah.
So, when that happens, I just kind of shut my mouth and I'm aware of what's going on. It's just the cognitive part where it's like lacking. So there was that. And where was I going with this part?
Trying to think. I think we were just talking about it all in general.
Well, I know I asked the question how we didn't even know. Like,
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
medication.
Yes, there we
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Circle back, circle
circle back. We came.
Yeah.
So with this kind of epilepsy in this area, a lot of people get put on the same first med called Keppra. And Keppra has a lot of side effects. Like it's called Keppra rage. You get very mad at nothing. Um,
Mhm.
obviously a lot of medications nowadays, side effects, anxiety, depression. Um, so I was on that med for a really long time, like all throughout high school and like my first year of college. And I experienced all of the symptoms and it was hard for me to get off the med because I needed to be on a med. If you
Right.
get if you try to get off of med, you have to be in the hospital for like a week to wean you off of one to get you back on another. So I was going back and forth, and I qualified for a candidate to be brain surgery once I failed. Not failed, but more of my body didn't take to the medication. I was still having seizures around the fifth, sixth different med. So I don't know how old I was when that happened, but I had brain surgery in 2016. The medication at that point was just kind of stagnant. I was still having them overnight, waking up, silence during the day. Um, so yeah, in 2016 I had my first brain surgery, and it's where they put leads on the actual brain. So I have a scar from, let me take these off. Scar from here to behind my ear, and probably a section about that big of leads. That's what they're called. I don't really know how else to describe them.
Mhm.
But right on the area where I have a polymicrogyria. That's a technical term for it. It's like a
Mm.
birthmark. It's like a birthmark on my brain.
Oh, okay.
So that was, I guess, activated during puberty.
Wow.
So that's what kicked in for the seizures. In the surgery, we tried to pinpoint it. That was the first part. So the first surgery was trying to figure out where this little bugger is. We found it,
Mhm.
and it was a really long discussion. This time, it was like, do we want to try and get it, or do we want to move towards the medication? And then, obviously, I didn't get it out because I'm still taking the um, medication on my
Mhm.
I have this new device. And then the second part of that surgery was taking them out.
Oh,
And
okay.
as I was, well, as they were taking the leads out, they gave me a hemorrhage unintentionally.
Oh,
So
God.
it was a tough day on like my family and like everyone there, because I was in ICU for like a couple weeks. We didn't really know um, if my brain would reabsorb it or if they were gonna have to go back in. So I was in the room. And there's these tests when they say, "Hey, how are you feeling?" Good. And it's like, stick your arms out, touch your nose, all these different things. Just
Yeah.
close your eyes and do this. So I have them all practically memorized at this point. But
Yeah.
so I would be doing that every 3 minutes. I was on crazy meds, the pain meds.
Yeah.
Um, that was my surgery, and I was there for 23 days at NYU.
Jeez. That is a lot. That is a lot. And especially at that time in your life too, I feel like you're young, but you're old enough to kind of understand. But now that you're kind of older and see the magnitude of all that's happened, I'm sure that gives you a different perspective too. Just because I remember being that age and there's certain things you think that are important that maybe now you don't, or things like that. So I just think that's crazy too at that age to have experienced all of that.
At that age, more people are gonna be like, "Who am I gonna go to homecoming with?
Yeah.
Is this boy texting me or that kind of thing? Am I gonna make the team?"
Yeah.
Those silly little things, and I was worried about surviving a brain hemorrhage in
Yeah.
the city for 23 days.
Yeah.
Um,
And speaking of too, how, I mean, what just with the softball piece too, because at this point you had been playing and ended up still playing. How did that kind of mix in? Was it something that stressed you out being like, I need to go back, or was it something that kind of gave you excitement of I want to play again and be around my team? Like, what was that like
so
too?
funny story. I got to like bring little things in to the hospital. I had a picture. I think this time I was on the Rebel, so I had a picture
Yeah.
of me and like a couple of my teammates, and then picture of my family because I had like a little desk that would swing around.
Hmm.
Um, and then I had pictures of just me and my friends, and they were like, "Oh," like my nurses that would come in. "Oh, you play softball?" I was like, "Yeah, blah blah," and I got to tell them how excited I'm going to back and like what I do, and like it was kind of something that did actually bring me joy in
Hmm.
that period of time. Um, although people can't see it on me, the epilepsy, as in like invisible disease, um,
Hmm.
it is a lot of mental health related too.
Yeah.
Not only with like the side effects of the medication, but more of like people don't know unless they see, because people relate epilepsy to tonic-clonic seizures when they're shaking or
Hmm.
unconscious. I'll tell people like, yeah, I just had a couple yesterday. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Hmm.
But it's also something that I've come to realize it's a sensitive thing where I've learned to just kind of like, oh, I'm okay. It's okay. I'm okay. Don't worry about me.
Right.
Realize I did go through a lot, and it's hard to accept that, where I want to make sure
Yeah.
everyone else is okay.
And I'm sure in a way too, it's not something that you want to define you. Like there's so much more to you than that.
Hmm.
And I think that's a huge piece of it too. Like you're so awesome in so many other ways that it's like, let's talk about something else. When, you know what I mean? Is that
Yeah,
kind of a piece of it too, a little bit?
yeah, definitely. And that was hard for me to accept too. It's like, but I don't want to go to the hospital again. I have trouble with that still. Like, we'll want to make a trip to New York City. I'm like, I don't want to go to New York City
Yeah.
because that's where my doctor is. I don't want to go to New York City. There's so many good things about it that I could do, but I don't want to go because my doctor's there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's hard to like accept that and move forward and make myself understand that. And I don't And sometimes it's hard with like my family. I don't want to be like a burden to them with like, hey, if they ask me if I'm okay, or if I did have one, I don't want to be like, hey, I just had one to let you know. Because I do want to know, but at the same time, it's like, if I'm
Right.
okay, I don't want to let them know
Right.
kind of thing. So it's a sticky slope,
Mhm.
which is a hard part about it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
It doesn't seem like it stops you from doing anything. I mean, I feel like you just refuse to let it. I know there's setbacks and I'm sure there's things, but I mean, just to see, I've been with you almost every day the last what 8 weeks with the season, and I mean, if you didn't talk about it or tell the team about it or be in a podcast about, nobody would even know. How hard is that? I mean, that's obviously by choice that you're handling this adversity with such grace and strength.
yeah, I don't want it to be something where people are like, oh, Bella, did you have a seizure today? Or like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay during the day, like throughout day-to-day basis. I'm all right. So I don't want to make someone else think that I'm not okay. So that's a big part of it too. But if I'm not okay, I'm learning now to say that or to like ask for help in those situations, which
Mhm.
is something that's actually really hard to do when you've always had to like show everyone you're all right, work
Yeah.
hard and all that. It's like,
100%. Speaking of that too, I guess with even softball or life in general, like how has that kind of changed your mindset of like not taking things too seriously or like not putting a lot of stress on yourself, like just being grateful for whatever it is that you're doing?
exactly that. I mean, being diagnosed with epilepsy, there's a huge topic that no one wants to talk about. It's called SUDEP, sudden unexpected death of person with epilepsy. Um, and that means they don't wake up in the
Mhm.
morning because you could have a like you're not supposed to sleep with pillows or any of that. So it's waking up in the morning is a great, not to get heavy, but like it's something I'm
No,
grateful.
yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like I think that's a lesson everyone can take from the I mean, anything aside, like every day we're here, we're lucky to be. And like I think that's a great message to share for anyone listening. Like you have to find joy in the little things that you're doing because ultimately, like you never know. So I think that's huge, and I think that's something everyone can take away from this too. So thank you for sharing that too, for sure.
Yeah, I've learned to take everything with a grain of salt, whether it's something negative that happens to you or positive that happens to you, everything with a grain of salt. You never know what you're gonna get after it, really.
Yeah. How's that
Yeah,
help you coaching, do you think?
it helps her deal with
Yeah.
me. I know that.
Depending on the situation, um, I really learned to just tell them to have fun.
Yeah.
And
Because
mean it. So many people say it, you literally mean it and understand it.
Mhm.
yeah, like because obviously I work with the pitchers mostly, and when they're like, I just can't get this to happen, and they're throwing it over and over, back to back to back. I'm like, throw your fastball,
Yeah.
throw, or in the game, they're up an account where no one's on base, and we've been working on this pitch, and we haven't really thrown it a lot. I'm trying to build confidence. Call it in the game, goes in the dirt. Nice
Oh
try.
well.
Like,
Yeah.
good try.
Better luck next time. We got
Yeah,
it.
better luck next time. You're
Yes.
still out there. I didn't yank you for throwing the ball in the dirt.
Well, that's why I going off that, it reminded me of Lou, like playing for Lou, because I was just so used to coaches in my life being like, do better than that. And we're already so hard on ourselves. Like, I remember I missed a pop fly and Lou was like, hey, try to use your glove next time. I'm like, all right. Sounds good.
All right, noted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Before I ask a few questions, one great attribute Bella brings, and even our other assistant that helps Brooke, I don't think there's like craziness or uh a lot of emotion in our dugout. Like I think there's a calm and we don't always win, right? I mean, but we don't just bark at people and we don't just tell them what to do and put your glove down. I think we all try our best to paint the big picture. Like Bella said, it's a game. I mean, go out and have fun, and it gets lost so much by so many people.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Bella, question. So, despite all this, I'm just gonna sum it up like that. You
Yeah.
finish high school,
Yep.
you go to college. Like, can you put into words how? Oh,
Sorry. I was just remembering because high school I tore my labrum.
oh,
Oh, well, I forgot about that.
I did. I forgot about that too. Yeah.
Do you like minor detail real quick? I actually
No,
also
I couldn't actually play my freshman year.
we're just gonna laugh through that one. Is that okay with
Yeah.
everybody?
Well, it actually it might answer the question I'm gonna ask. When you finally realized you couldn't play anymore in college, because I mean, we could have 3 podcasts on the demands of playing in college ball at any level.
Yeah.
Like, were you almost relieved, or were you did I don't want to use the word depressed, like was it so disheartening, or just tell us about that if you don't mind sharing, because that had to be a huge moment.
When I realized I wasn't gonna pitch again, it broke my heart. Like,
Yeah.
I love softball. I grew up doing this. I don't want it to go away. Um, yeah, it was sad leaving my sophomore year because I knew it was either gonna be a long recovery or it was gonna be pick up and find something that you're gonna do that you love.
hmm
So I kind of just accepted it and chose to keep it in my life rather than like, oh, you can't play, so that's sad.
Yeah.
End of story. But I'm here coaching, which is great.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I
She
know.
she's so good. And I think what angers me, and I didn't even go through, well, I never played. I almost say that in every episode. Allie laughs.
It's every
I
episode he mentions how
Every
he never plays
practice.
softball.
every
Yeah.
practice.
Oh,
I
we
lit
get it. No, I'm
I
kidding.
didn't go through anything you went through, Bella. But what angers me, knowing both of you and all the other people I've been blessed to be part of in this softball journey, the kids that just want to not enjoy the moment because they're worried about the next step or the next place or the next stat or where they're going to go or college, like there's some destination that's going to make them happy. And where I get angry is the destination's right now. Like if you're not happy right now, you're never going to find happiness in this game. And you guys, like you could go back and be in ninth grade and probably just playing a softball game. Not that you'd want to go back, but you didn't realize how much fun it was almost until it's too late, right?
Yeah,
Well, and I think too, it's almost like, okay, you start playing and then you want to make a travel team, and then you make a travel team. Well, I want to be on a better one. Now I need to get recruited. Now well, now I want to start, and now we got to win. And then all of a sudden your career's over, and you're like, what the heck just happened?
yeah, literally.
So, yeah, go ahead, Bella.
I was just gonna say that's exactly that. You're on one team. Oh, and then someone reaches out to you. Oh, I could do this. Let's do that. Then you have to email other people about getting to play in college, and you're worried about those little things. You said it exactly. It's like you're always worried about what to do next to get either better or get more out of what you could have.
Or it's just, oh, well, if I could just be on this team or do that, it'll be easier. I'll be happier. Like, it's all hard. It's just a different type of hard. Playing in high school is hard. Playing on a travel team is hard. Playing in college is really hard. Sitting the bench is hard. Like, everything is hard. So I think it's just that perspective too. Like, be where your feet are, enjoy the role you're given, and just have fun
Yeah.
with it. And it's easier said than done, but it's just, I feel like it's just being missed out and in so many ways.
I agree. Enjoy waking up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yes. Yes. Well, my dad jokes his alarm goes off and he'll say out loud, he goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then he gets up.
And run his mile. Jeez.
No,
Yeah.
but it is. It's the best part of the morning because it's a it's a blank slate. Of course, you're a little groggy, or you just been laying down for whatever many hours. With me, it's probably like 3 or 4, but for most people, it's 7 or 8. But uh, it's just, let's go take like you're gonna run out of days someday. I think about that all the time, and it's not a pessimistic thing. It's
Mm.
literally a fact. Like, why am I not going to enjoy this moment? Even in bad moments, you can try to find some joy in it. And it's lost in so many
Well,
people. And
I
I
feel
say all the time, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like when you're being grateful, it's almost impossible to be negative. Like when you're
Yeah.
expressing gratitude, that is the complete opposite of anything else. Like I know a few weeks ago for 40 days, I did like a gratitude journal. And the thing I just want to try it. And the thing I liked about it the most is I woke up every day looking for things to write in my journal. So, because I had to do 10 different ones every day for 40 days. So at the end, I had 400 completely different things. And it could be like the most minuscule stuff ever. Like, I'm glad my washer works today. I can wash my clothes. Like just the littlest things, but I woke up kind of looking for them. And that's the part I liked about it, like not sitting down at night to write them. It was let's wake up today and find 5 things before noon that I'm grateful for and get excited about them because they're new and I can write them down. I don't know. I thought it was a cool exercise.
And it starts your day off pretty positive too.
hmm hmm
I every day I write down, I'm glad I don't have to call pitches.
I can't relate.
I snoop sometimes. I stand by her and snoop and listen to what she's throwing, and then I don't have the attention span.
One time,
Oh no.
no,
Here we
one
go.
I called like I jammed her inside and it was like up to 0-2. And then I called like a pitch out and he was like, why would you want to throw a ball? I was like, so they swing and miss at it.
Chase pitch. Trust the process. And did she swing
I
and miss?
Yes.
Heck
And he's
yeah, she did.
like
I
that
walked to
math
the other
doesn't
end of
make
the
sense.
dugout.
I was like, it's okay. Sometimes the math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
I walked to
It's
the
more
other.
of it's an art, not a science.
Yeah, that's when I go to the other end of the dugout and I just bug the players that aren't playing, and they're probably like, "Leave me alone." Oh wait, we didn't have many this year, but anyways,
I don't think we had any.
yeah, it's been a fun. You know what though? But regardless of how the season ends, and you guys can go back to all your seasons, I tell the girls all the time, it's just so much more than softball. If you really want to be happy playing the game, you can't focus just on the game. Like
From Bella, I'm curious your answer to this. Just from playing softball, what do you feel like are the main lessons in your life now, if you were to pick that you feel like your softball career kind of helped instill in you that you kind of see in yourself now?
Adaptability. That's the biggest.
Facts.
Yeah. No, because whether I relate it to pitching,
Mhm.
you throw a fastball, that's what you learn everything on. And then, oh, you're supposed to throw a pitch that's 5, 7 miles per hour slower. Like that mindset kind of thing. You wake up and it's one of those days where everything's going wrong. All right, screw. I don't know, that kind of thing. You don't want to, you have to go the opposite way when something's not going this way. Either change it or go this way. Like able to move on the fly, roll with the punches. Like I guess that's from my injuries too, but I mean,
I love that. I'm gonna say that from now on. If I have a bad morning, be like, "Oh, curve's not working."
oh,
Screw.
to do it too.
Change it up.
back to the bullpen. I mean, bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in my bed and I'm gonna pretend wake up all over again. Just oh, that's funny. No, adaptability is a huge one, I think.
Definitely
I
that.
I used to ask people, on podcasts, would you go back and change anything again? And I don't ask that question because A, we don't have that choice, right? But you're as strong as you are because of your journey. And I don't know what would have happened if none of this happened, but you wouldn't be Bella Reese. And it seems like it's great. Well, I mean, it's so nice you just, I don't know if accept it's the word, but embrace it and deal with it and adapt. I guess you just said the word. I shouldn't have to make another one up.
Yeah, definitely that. It's just kind of like every day. I've learned to take step by step rather than expect anything at all.
Well, I
But
think
yeah,
that's a huge thing with sports. Like, you can't expect anything ever. Like, my dad and I talk about the time nothing in sports is fair, but neither is anything in life. You have to be adaptable because you wake up and you don't deserve anything.
mm,
Like, you have to go get everything. And I think that's hard to swallow sometimes, especially for young kids in sports. It's like you have to bring your best self every single day. And even sometimes that's not going to go your way, but it's how well do you adapt and how well do you adjust and get through things. Like, life is not perfect. And I remember graduating college and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not playing a sport anymore. Like, I can do whatever I want. I still have adversity. Like, I still have so much going on in my life. It's not like all that disappeared just because softball ended.
yeah,
It's just a new type of hard. It's a
yeah,
new type of hard that you have to deal with. And I think sports teaches you that of, okay, I've gone through a lot of hard times in my athletic career, but I've proven to myself I can get through every bad day I've had. So same thing applies for life now. Like, oh, I went 0 for 3 today.
yeah.
Well,
Back
better
to the
luck,
plan.
better luck back to the bullpen. Yeah, exactly.
No, but if you don't have adversity, you can't appreciate the good times, right?
Mm,
Like if you don't know what a rainy day is, you can't experience the sunshine. And so many people want to say they've had adversity, but when they go through it, they just want to run the quickest way out of it and then say, "Oh, that's better."
yeah,
But you have to have both sides of everything to appreciate it all.
absolutely. And I can't say that I wouldn't be or I would be the same person I am today if I haven't gone through all I did. And
Right.
I know it's like, oh my gosh, he keeps talking. Oh
No.
gosh. But it's more of like, I think not that I needed that. I don't think anyone really needs that, but it's more of to have a challenge in life is something to that you're always going to look at and you're going to take those steps that you use to get over that challenge or get through that challenge for the rest of your life for any other slight issue that comes up. Like I had to go through different things to get myself out of bed. Sometimes I still do those things to help me get out of bed or to help me if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a couple like cluster seizures. I still go through those motions to not like hype myself up, say you can do it. You're good.
Yeah. It's almost like a toolkit you're equipping yourself with to like use over and over again.
Not that I wish anyone to have to go through anything bad, but more of like if you go through a challenge, you take more out of it than you think.
And I guess what advice would you have to anybody who's going through adversity in the moment? Because I think a lot of times, right, when we go through adversity, it's easy to look back and say, oh, it helped me. But in
Mhm.
the moment, like, how do you go through that with grace and see that when you're going through it? Because I think sometimes it's hard, like, why is this happening to me? Have that mindset instead of, the one you have later down the line when you have the ability to have the bird's eye view of it all.
Yeah. And I've definitely had those moments like, why did this happen? Like, did I do something? But that I would definitely say at 1 minute, 1 second, 1 hour at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna have those moments, but like the rain and then it's gonna sun.
Yeah.
It's you have to take it day by day because the seizure only lasts so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I literally take it minute, second, hour
It's
by
good
day.
advice.
It's
It's really good advice.
gonna get better.
It has to.
Yeah, it can't get any worse.
We
Bella,
had the yeah.
you were wiser and stronger beyond your years. I keep forgetting you're
Uh-huh.
only 22.
Uh-huh.
Thanks. I had a
Uh-huh.
lady
That
tell me that when a plane landed before because we had really bad turbulence and a guy I was one of my uncles I was flying with, he goes, I don't know if we're gonna make it. I was like, it's our time. We're going down. We're going down together. A random lady comes up to me and she goes, young woman, you are wise beyond your years. I said, hey.
I'm just laughing because I can picture you saying,
Yeah. 100%.
be like, why are you guys freaking out? If we're going down, we're going down.
Going down. What are you gonna do about it? You don't have a parachute.
Yeah, another funny story about Bella, probably 3 times a game's like, I'm going out there to talk to the pitcher. And she's like, just don't. They don't they don't need to talk to you right now. They don't want to hear you. Just let them get through it. And she's giving the pitcher like hand signals and what to do next. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, way
But
I
that's
go.
good because in all seriousness, it's like, how important is it to have people in your life who are gonna bounce ideas off you or like tell you when to chill or tell you when to stop? Like, I don't know. I feel like we're all close enough. Like, I would have that conversation with either of you and be like, no, and we'd be like, okay, you're right.
Well, what I've learned though is, I mean, what am I really going to say? I mean, the whole purpose of any visit's to kind of change the momentum or slow things down or let them breathe. And she does things with the pitchers that accomplish that right from the dugout. So what do I need? Like, what's my purpose now? Like,
Get your steps in.
yeah, to get my steps in. But I mean, those are important things to be able to understand as a coach or anything, that you're only as good as your staff and what you let them do. So why would I just go out there to look at he's doing something. The game's going to change now because he went out and talked. Well, Bella's already got it taken care of, and win or lose, like that's our plan. That's the way it goes. So that's
Yeah.
the whole fun of it.
Awesome.
Hopefully we can get it taken care of.
Yeah, I left her speechless.
Bella, I'm curious, do you have like a favorite softball memory? It can be like Tremors or anything else. I know that's a big one.
I have lots of memories.
Yeah, me too.
Um, give me a sec.
No, you're good. We had such a good group our last
We
couple
really
months. Yeah.
one of my favorite.
Uh,
I don't know if you were with us. I know Jenna was. I think
class.
we were talking about it when we were down in Virginia. Was when the parents were at the brewery in Colorado, and my my dad had the huge black Tahoe, and Jenna had to drive them all home.
Yes.
And then later that night, I think Kat had to take it to Walmart. And there was like, you might have been there. It was Kat, Morgan, me,
Yeah.
Maddie, maybe.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Um,
And then a shopping cart might have scratched it. But I definitely didn't see that.
that whole day I know exactly what day you're talking about because Jenna was driving their car, but I was driving my parents, and you guys
Yes.
passed me, and I was like this.
And Jenna was like, Bella, where am I going? Where am I going? I was like, I
There
don't
was
know.
like 6 lanes of.
I was like, they're drunk. It's fine.
Yeah.
The Colorado trip holds a lot of fond memories for me.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, especially pitching
Yeah.
too. That's just
Oh.
kind
It's the thin air out there. It's the
The thin air. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, good
Well,
times.
this was great. I'm glad you came on, and it's important that your plans aren't going to go according to how you think your plans are going to go, no matter how hard you work. But it's how you get through it is what actually makes you so strong. So this was an important message tonight. I didn't mean to interrupt the Colorado stories.
No, it's
good.
we could keep going for hours, so
Yeah,
it's
that
good.
was really good.
No, it's good. Yeah, thank you so much, Bella. You're awesome. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Great.
Of course.